Okay, I can also press the button. So I'm going to tell you about the development of automated transport services and in Tampere, and also experiences and lessons learned so far, because we have been running the services since the beginning of last year. This is the third phase of the pilots, and we will still have at least fourth phase, which will start by the, let's say, before summer or immediately after summer. We will see how it goes. So, all that we are doing here is based on a kind of a vision, that what the city wants to develop. So the idea is to develop automated mobility services, which, as Tatu said, will be integrated with the existing public transport system. So no isolated services, seamless, let's say, travel chains and mobility services. And here automated vehicles, as said already earlier, are important to provide the feeder services, first and last mile services to and from our new tram system, which was presented earlier in the morning. And we also want, after the pilots, we want to expand the services and bring them, as an essential part of the public transport system. So we have mixed traffic conditions, which is a kind of a challenge because we are using public roads, and we have also weather conditions which in the wintertime are rather challenging. And this is something that most of the countries in Europe don't have, especially in the project show. So we are the most Arctic, let's say, pilot area. So who are we? In the project we are 4 partners, nowadays 5 because Remoted joined a bit later. So City of Tampere, kind of an enabler. Sitowise, where I'm coming from, we are the national project coordinator, and we are also the show satellite pilot leader. We have several satellite pilots all over Europe. And then Sensible 4 is a pilot phase 1 operator and service provider. VTT, Research Institute, as we all know, and they were the remote control center developer. And we are going to hear about that a bit more later. And then Remoted, operating the pilot phase 3, which is running just at the moment. Please go there and test it. You will like it. It's very interesting. And then we have external ecosystem participants, Nysse, the Tampere City Transport, and we are State Railways, Tampere Light Rail tram operator. So these are stakeholders. And we have been testing, as I said, we are in pilot phase 3. So we have been using, and we are using at the moment, 2 different routes. The other one on the left-hand side is 3.5 kilometer circular route clockwise, so that we can avoid, this kind of a difficult turns to left. So clockwise route, 3.5 kilometers, and there we are operating with, at the moment, 2 Auetec vehicles. And then the other running route is Lintuhytti route from the end stop of the tram to Lintuhytti residential area, where we are operating with Easy Mile. And it is 1.7 kilometers. Earlier, last year, we had also a route which was, you could say that it was in the middle of the Hervanta route, starting from the Duo shopping center and going 1.5 kilometers. It is west and then back. That was operated by VTT with 1 Auetec vehicle. So we have had several different kind of tests and test environments. Let's go back here, sorry. The piloting started in 2022 in January, and ever since we have continued the efforts. And in the future in Tampere, for example, we will have several mobility hubs with feeder services, because the tram will grow, and it is already now growing towards west. And they also need services. They also need feeder transport services in these new areas. Here you can see the pilot areas. So the upper left-hand part, that's the 3.5 kilometer route, and in the middle of that route, there was also the 1.5 kilometer route. And now we are operating, here you can see on the right bottom corner, you can see the Lintuhytti route. So all this is in Hervanta area, but we will have the services in the future also elsewhere. And now that we had additional funding from the European Commission, we are very happy and very thankful. So we can also add Lahti, which is on 160 kilometers east from here. They will be part of the services, but we will have the same operational control center. So it's very interesting exercise. And as it was told by Tatu, so now the services have been integrated with the existing public transport system, and we have them all also in our existing journey planner, so that we can offer seamless services for all users, all kinds of users, disabled, elderly, school children, name them. As a matter of fact, the accessibility working group has been involved in the discussions from the beginning, because they need also the services, and they are those who need it most urgently. If, for example, you cannot take your wheelchair in the middle of winter from your home, which is 2 kilometers away from the tram, you cannot use your wheelchair, so you have to have something else. And they have told us that they don't want to use kind of a special transport services. They would like to use the same services as any other citizen. And now we have them in the discussions also, and they are very happy about it, because normally nobody asks from the accessibility working group members, what should we do? They are just given something and then they have to use it. Yeah, let's go back. Here, quick. So, what kind of a feedback? So you can see that the passengers are rather happy. The amounts are growing. So when we integrated the service to the existing journey planner, so there was a kind of a boom. And these are a bit old figures, but now so far we have had more than 20,000 kilometers driven and 6,000 users, passengers, and it will grow. By the end of the year, we most likely will have quite a lot over 10,000 passengers, which means 10,000 rides, perhaps not separate passengers, but rides offered. And the feedback is very nice, like, good drive, I will come again. And vehicle drives well. This is, by the way, very important. Vehicle drives well, and it was interesting to be on board. They have a lot of questions. The safety drivers tell us that they want to know. They are very positive. Also, the car owners, because our Nysse operator, public transport operator, they have so-called Nysse Lab. And in the Nysse Lab, they had car users. And we invited them to talk with us. Are you voluntarily ready to leave your vehicles at home and use automated feeder services and tram instead? And the message was that if this works well, as it seems now, they are more than willing to do it, because the parking problem in the city center is anyway challenging. So they have also motivation to use automated services. So we have tested in winter these services. I mean, it was -20 when we, a year ago, more than 1.5 years ago, tested the services, and they worked properly. You can see here in the bottom, our Minister of Transport, so far yet, but they will change him anyway. And our mayor in the upper picture, she has been changed already. So. We are in a dynamic world. But anyway, they said that, our mayor said in her speech that this is the future of public transportation in Tampere. So we need this kind of services. And we tested those Toyota Pro Ace vehicles, the black ones. They were diesel engine powered, but nowadays they are electric. But we wanted to make sure that we don't run into a problem with charging, and it didn't happen. And the users loved it. But of course, those were not yet fully accessible, so future developments will be needed. But what have been the challenges? So as Tatu says, safety drivers and safety operations and operators, they need proper education, they need proper skills. They have to be capable of providing the service. And for this reason, Tampere Adult Education Center, together with Remoted, they have launched the new and unique safety driver education. This is kind of a unique thing, perhaps in Europe, perhaps in the world, because when I have in the show project, I have told to the other countries that we are doing this. So they have been a bit amazed. Yeah, we didn't think that the real proper education is good. And accessibility working group, do you really talk with them? They have also been, normally in the other countries, services are given, use or not. But we wanted to have a possibility for everybody to use. And then harmonized legislation, and Kirsi Miettinen is going to tell about that. We need that to guide automated vehicle operations and services. Also including type approval, guidelines process, and also this kind of insurance issues are important. I know that the Remoted guys talked quite a lot with the insurance agencies, what kind of insurances are possible and what are needed. And this is also something to other countries to consider. And then, of course, in Finland, challenging wind conditions. There are a lot of things like the routes that we are using, they need class 1 maintenance. Then battery technology, I know it's evolving on always, continuously, all the time. But still, it's something that we need to push forward. And then improvements to vehicles. We have realized that there were some things during the harsh conditions that caused challenges to vehicles. And together with OEMs, vehicle manufacturers, we were able to talk about what should be done to the vehicles so that they really can operate in winter conditions. And together, the safety drivers, they are very helpful, and I thank you. So they were able to solve these problems and make some improvements to the vehicles. So it's not only to offer services to citizens, but also to offer feedback to the OEMs. What should be done so that the LiDARs and other sensors are working properly. And we have used simple innovations or a bit more complicated innovations to make these things happen. And then one thing which is, we have talked about it, but it's a kind of a behavioral issue. Overtaking cars who get frustrated because the buses are driving slowly. Even buses, I mean bigger buses, are overtaking. And then perhaps also braking when they have passed automated vehicles. And this is causing some challenges. So how to change the behavior of other road users, not only drivers, but also pedestrians, because pedestrians are aware that this is an automated vehicle, so I can just walk like this and don't watch, because it will stop anyway. But it will cause problems to the automated vehicle, because they will brake. So you can see that there are some things. They are not impossible things to solve, but they are things that you have to take into account. Let's go further. I try to squeeze a bit so that the others can have more time. You can always come back to me and ask questions. I will be available until the end of the year. Then I will not be anymore. I'm happy to inform you that I will retire. Of course, if somebody has a lot of money, you can come back to me in the beginning of 24 and then we can talk about it. But what do we expect? What do we want to have in Tampere? So the main focus here in the city of Tampere is to provide proper automated feeder transport services for all citizens, including special users, and to promote the volunteer use of public transport, so that also the car users would be willing to do it. And the feeder services will be integrated as part of the public transport system. Of course, this has to be also economically viable, not only technologically viable. This is one of the key issues. If it's more expensive than existing services, it will never happen. So that's one of the reasons for the efforts to try to get rid of the safety drivers. So, but if this all happens, so it's very interesting. And there are some targets by the city of Tampere, and Mika, you can correct me if I'm totally wrong, but they want to strengthen the integrated public transport services with proper fluent feeder services. They want to reduce the usage of cars in the city centers so that we will have, attractive spaces for citizens. Instead of having a lot of parked cars, we could have green areas, homes for citizens, so to say, living rooms. But we don't want to force. Of course, some guidelines, we need some stick, but more carrot. So we should have a lot of carrot so that people are ready to do it, not just doing it because they have to do it. So this is very, very important. And of course, we expect that when we start and put wheels running, so the market will also grow and technologies will develop, and then we can have more and more advanced services. So we have to remember, this is just a part of the story. We are just starting, but the end is somewhere there. Perhaps by 2030, where we have also our climate goals, we have also very, very fine automated transport services available. Then one of the very important issues is the public-private partnerships. And you could even add 1P, public-private and people partnership or whatever, so that it's not only organizations, it's also the citizens that we need. But we have realized that the public-private partnerships are one of the best issues, or let's say, tools to make things happen. You have to talk, and in Finland, I have to say that it's very easy to talk, for example, with authorities, either on the city level or national level. I can just take a phone and call. That's not the case in other countries, or not at least in every country. So it's easy in Finland, and PPP is working here. And we need to use PPP. And then we want to develop automated electric vehicles because we have climate targets and we have also other environmental targets. So hopefully the future will be automated and electric vehicle future in Tampere. So now what's going to come within the near future? So we were lucky enough, for some reason, to have also additional funding from the European Commission, and we will enhance the services. We will add routes here in Tampere, add vehicles, but we will also have the city of Lahti as a part of the service concept. And this is a very interesting thing. They have this Vanha Herra, it's citizens' housing facility. And they have no proper means to go to the city and do, all kinds of things like go to library, hospital, marketplace, supermarkets, and so on. And now we are going to open a service where this Vanha Herra residential place, citizens' housing facility, will have not feeder services, but it's kind of a round, perhaps clockwise or anti-clockwise route, where the residents can use the services to make their life easier. This is very, very interesting, and the city of Lahti is very much supporting these activities. So I thank the city for that. So when we talk about the vehicles, they have been named a few times. So at the moment, we means mostly remoted. There are a lot of discussions going on with all possible OEMs because we want to see and test the best possible vehicles. So we are talking with about this Mika vehicle, very interesting, nice looking, brand new. Also, we are talking with a bit bigger vehicles. Is it possible? What kind of they might be? So that's a Karsan vehicle, something like, I think how many meters? 20 passengers, 8 meters or something. Also, Ohmio from Australia. Well, we know them, they know us. We will see what's happened. They have also this kind of a combined, either physically or platooning-wise combined vehicle. But these are things that we have to make sure that we know our alternatives. So negotiations with these are going on. All depends on very many things. So where are we now? phase 3 will in practice end by the end of this month. We opened the remote control center already in May. Service was integrated to Journey Planner already in March. And now we will continue to pilot phase 4 now that the Commission has said yes. So we will continue in June until the end of this year. Most likely the project show will continue also beyond that, meaning that perhaps we will finalize the project by mid-2024. Of course, what I would like to see is that we will not stop at all. We will continue developing the services as a kind of a part of an integrated transport system. So, my personal view, I hope that this is also the view of other players in the project. We would like to see further development of automated services based on the show project results. Because we have now a lot of things in our hands. Oh yeah, these are the results, what should we do next? And then we want to deploy the automated services in several areas, in Tampere, in Lahti, and I know at the moment that there are other cities in Finland raising their hands that we are, by the way, ready. I cannot say the names yet, but they have indicated their willingness to implement and deploy automated services. But one of the key issues is that the services have to be integrated with the public transport system. Otherwise, it's just a kind of an isolated tool. We have to have integrated services. So with this, I didn't look my watch, but more or less we are in time. So I would like to thank you, and please return to me or any other show partner if you want to know more. Thanks.